So, let's talk about fitting orcs into the modern day and age. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire, here with another quick tips for DMs. Today, looking at how we go about fitting orcs into the modern day and age kind of styled settings for all of your urban fantasy needs. I know we just got started on the Shaman Guide, but just not enough time to produce all the slides and read through everything and try to make sure I gain at least a level of competency and familiarity with what I'm presenting there. Already made a mistake that Captain Crank had pointed out. Thank you very much for that. But we'll cover that later. Today, we are going to talk about, again, fitting orcs into the modern day and age, and joining me is my most adorable co-host, or at least one of the three, Finn, apprentice storyteller, and still uninitiated as yet into any circles of lore, despite his multiple attempts at persuasion. I think he gets advantage on charisma rolls. Anyways, we are going to dive into all of that, but before we do, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself on just such an incredible roster of legendary heroes, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. But now, let's talk about orcs. Now, some previous DMs of mine and just other people I've talked to that do a fair bit of DMing and have used urban fantasy settings, a good number of them have actually just thrown orcs into the most obvious role, that of that, big, muscle-bound, brutish thug that literally just the person used as hired muscle. And this is the same for half-orcs and even characters like Minotaur or ogres and the like. And they work incredibly well there, but don't get me wrong, but it's kind of the tried and true thing. And we want to come up with other new things for these different kinds of disparate fantasy races to be utilized in. And one of the first things that leaps out at me are muscle man competitions, bodybuilders, body sculptors, people like that. An orc would be absolutely fabulous there. Just a lot of their popular depictions, they have incredible musculature, incredible size and broadness of their body. And with just a little bit of dedicated time and training and gaining some of the more modern scientific understandings of how to build their bodies, they could really incredibly well excel at that. I mean, it'd be absolutely fantastic to see. But also, that just leads on to the next chain where they can actually be physical trainers. They can work in different locations. They can work at gyms. They could work at hospitals. They could be those people that help with those kinds of jobs. And now it's like, oh, orcs have a penalty to their intelligence. Well, I mean, yeah, by most traditional game stats and everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all going to be stupid or that they can't dedicate their skill points to understanding those kinds of physicalities and how to get somebody's body built back up and re-strengthened. And bear in mind that they're also in an unfamiliar world. Possibly by passing through the veil between worlds, they may not have a full recollection or memory of what their previous life was like. They might have some hazy feelings, some distant images, fleeting memories in their mind, but they have to make themselves new in this world if they're going to survive. So yeah, you can still have plenty of your brutish thugs as orcs, but why not also make them athletic trainers? Some of the ones that do better at adapting and thriving, they work in hospitals, they're orderlies, they are physical fitness staff, they are muscle men, they work in positions where, hey, they need to have that incredible physicality. They're lumberjacks, they could be, they could buck hay bales on ranches and Exactly. He knows what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of options there. And that's just leaning into their physical strength aspect of things. You can go all different kinds of routes depending on how you want to homebrew things. For me, I know I definitely fall into that camp of I like to homebrew and move different stats around. I like to move penalties and bonuses or just eliminate them based on what the culture is that they live in, because I don't like leaving cultures just strictly the same Tolkien-esque Warhammer fantasy world kind of setting. I don't like leaving them just as those base templates and forms. I like to play with things and build my own worlds and histories and mythologies. And the point of this series is to try, or this part of this series anyways, is to try to help encourage you to do the same, which is why we're doing this. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? Let me and my adorable co-host know your thoughts in the comments down below, and we'll engage in discussion. Hit those like or dislike buttons, and don't forget, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. This has been one of my most adorable co-hosts, Finn, apprentice storyteller and uninitiated to any circles of lore. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.